All right, guys, welcome to another episode on the podcast. Got myself, Brian Gold, my co host, Squints, and our new friend, Mason, that came out here just by me sliding in your DMs.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, by the way.
We
You
appreciate you
guys
coming
are
out.
nice. You guys are too nice. You paid for the flight. I'm just happy to be here, man.
Hey, man,
Escape the cold from Utah for a little bit.
I saw you
Yeah,
show up in shorts, and I was like, this motherfucker's from Utah.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
freezing right now. I
Yeah.
checked
It
the
is.
weather because I'm going there this weekend. And I was like, "Fuck,
Oh,
bro."
dude, my boy just sent me a picture of the slopes. You
The
guys
high
got
was like 40. I
53
was like, "Oh."
of
Yeah,
snow.
it's a lot. It's a lot of snow, and I'm a snowboarder, so I like the snow. But if you're not snowboarding or sledding,
Snow sucks.
it sucks. It does.
Dude,
or,
this-
or unless it's Christmas.
I'll
If
show
it's
you the-
Christmas Day, I want
Snow's
the snow.
badass,
Other
yeah.
than that, no good.
Yeah, for us, it's what, 2 hours to snow?
I mean, shit, it's about 5 minutes now. This year it has been at least.
Sure,
You know what I
drive to
mean?
Valencia
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah. All the mountains are snow capped. It's been tripping me out because I'll be sitting here in the valley somewhere, and it's like streets I drive every day, but I see the snow capped mountains that aren't supposed to be snow capped, and I'm like, where the fuck am I right now? This
Dude,
is
what about
weird?
the hail we got last week, too?
Yeah, it is. It is strange. So is there snow on the ground in Salt Lake still?
Yeah, there's snow
In the
everywhere.
valley, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's been cold, huh, this winter?
It's been weird, man. Like it's like some days Utah's weird like that though.
Yeah.
Like Monday will be hot and then Tuesday blizzard.
I heard yesterday it was like 55, which
Yeah.
is warm to
Like I was one wheeling. Yesterday I took my motorcycle out for a ride, and then today, like, yeah, not good.
Not
Just
happening.
up and down, man.
But
No.
how do you find purpose after your story?
Well, should I tell my story first?
Let's tell
Yeah.
the story. Yeah.
Um,
Let's give the viewers a little backstory.
yeah, I think. So I'm a normal guy. I grew up. I love basketball. I don't know if you guys are hoopers or anything.
You give me like white men can't jump vibes.
Yeah, I love that movie, so
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my money, Billy.
Yeah.
That lady's voice in that
Yeah.
show. Oh my god.
It's so good.
It's my money.
You know they got a new one coming out.
I think that's a mistake though.
Yeah.
Like
Who,
you're in the
who did they have
Biz.
play? Who did they have play Billy? It's usually bad when you wait like 30 years or 20 years to do the remake and then you do it.
Top
But
Gun
then-
was a good one.
I mean,
Top Gun was damn
Tom
good.
Cruise still got it, bro.
Yeah.
Top Gun's Top Gun. You know what I mean?
Top
Tom
Gun
Cruise
was
is still
good.
the same person. He's probably a better person now than he was then. Even, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. What
Yeah,
were we
yeah.
talking
You're
about right there?
you're a regular dude. You
Yeah,
love
regular dude.
basketball.
So I love basketball growing up. That was basically like what I dedicated my life to. Like I was, I'm a 5'10" white kid from Utah. My chances of playing college basketball aren't great.
Yeah.
But that was my goal. Like I want to play college ball. And I got good enough. I was able to play college basketball. I met this girl named Courtney in high school. And just like, and it was weird because I was a baller. Like hoop was my girlfriend. Like it was what I dedicated all my time to. And then I met this girl, and it was just like, just loved hanging out with her, man, and just fell for her. And we our senior year in high school, we actually won the award most likely to marry your high school sweetheart.
Wow.
Yeah, we were just like
So
the
cute.
couple that like we just got each other, man. So I finished high school. I go play basketball at Dixie State University, which is
Mhm.
now Utah Tech. So it was a D2, kind of a smaller school.
Hey, you were there. Don't
Oh, dude,
short it.
if you can play any type of college basketball at the next level, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Like NAIA, JUCO, D2,
Yeah.
D3, whatever.
That's killing it at the park.
Yeah, dude. And
Yeah.
I was so stupid when I was younger because I thought it's D1 or bust.
Yeah. No, I
And
get it.
then I
mean, we all-
quickly learned, like, dang, like these dudes that go to JUCO are fucking good, man. Like
Yeah.
they're good. So I just fell for this girl playing college ball. Ended up marrying Courtney. And we're just kind of living the dream. So we're going to school. I'm playing basketball. She's doing the nursing program. We have our first child named Riggins. I don't know if you're not much of a TV guy, it sounds
No.
like. You're Mr. Busy guy.
Usually, yeah.
You ever seen the TV show Friday Night Lights?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a character off that show named Tim Riggins.
Mhm.
We loved him so much. Anyway, so we named our firstborn child Riggins. I finished playing basketball. Courtney gets her nursing degree. And then we end up moving back to where we came from, West Jordan, Utah, where we went to high school. And I wanted to do something with basketball because I love basketball. And I also wanted to do something where I could help teenagers.
Mhm.
And like, oh, a high school coach, perfect.
Yeah.
Like I can be around basketball, I can be around teenagers, like perfect. So we go back to West Jordan, Utah. We start our new careers. I'm a high school teacher, basketball coach. Courtney's a nurse. We have 2 more kids, Blue, and then we had a daughter, Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, and you know, death's a weird thing, but what I mean by that is sometimes people die like they just turn into like Hercules all of a sudden. Like they never made a mistake. They're Mr. Perfect. You know what I mean? Like
You only see the good.
yeah. And I get weird about that. I think that's disrespectful. Like you don't get to be a piece of shit your whole life and then you die, and just because death's scary and sad, you don't just get to cash in and act like you were this great person. Like if you were a douchebag, like you
Still
were
a
a douchebag.
You're still a douchebag.
So like I don't want to like overdo it, but like dude, I was so happy, man. Like pretty perfect marriage, as close as you could get. Beautiful kids, a career I loved. It was I've always been a simple guy, dude. Like I don't need a big house or fancy things. I just had my wife and kids. I loved it. So I'm teaching, and I get like you just don't make a lot of money being a high school teacher. You know what I mean, dude? I have 3 kids, and it's like, dude, this is rough. So I start a side hustle where I start training basketball players on the side, like skill development. And it kind of turned into the side hustle became more than the main hustle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like Courtney, like I told my wife, I'm like, I think I have like another career opportunity over here in this skill development of basketball training. So to make a long story short, dude, I get this phone call one day from these people in southern Utah. They work at this place called Nets on Fire, big, beautiful basketball complex. And they literally call me with my dream job. Like, hey, we want you to come train our players, help us put together AAU basketball teams and travel the country and coach. I'm like,
Wow.
what the hell? Like, for real? And they're like, yeah. So I tell Courtney about it. She's like, damn, like, let's go. So we moved back down to St. George where we went to college.
No
So
shit.
yeah, it was cool. So Courtney and I are like back in our hometown, like where we first were married. So we're loving it. And again, like I start this new career. Courtney gets a nursing job that she really loves. And my brother Race, I have an older brother Race that lives there too, which was awesome because he was older and didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with him like I wish I had growing up. Wish I talked to him more, and now I get to live close to him. Everything was just clicking. And then so I take this new job at Nets on Fire, and that the next weekend my family's having a family reunion in northern Utah, and I'm a family guy, and so I always go to family reunions. But I told my mom, hey, Courtney and I, we can't make it to this family reunion and I felt like I just took on this new job, so I didn't feel like I can take on this new job and then just leave.
Understandable.
Yeah, I felt like I had to show them that I'm serious, and so we decided not to go. And then that Friday, that weekend rolls around, the weekend of the family reunion, and my wife is like, "Hey, Mace, you're just gonna be working, coaching in this tournament all weekend. I have the kids. I'm just gonna take them to the family reunion. I'll just drive them up there, drive them back Sunday. It'll be fun." I'm like, yeah, sounds great. And my brother Race, who we live by, he was going to. Obviously, it's his family too, as a family reunion. So he's like, hey, I'm going. Are you going? I'm like, I can't go, but Courtney's going. He's like, you should ride with Courtney and the kids so you can carpool together. And he's like, yeah, sounds good. So Race takes his youngest son, Ryder, and they ride with my family to Bear Lake, northern Utah, to the family reunion.
So 6 people.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the last I saw any of them. So on the way back from that family reunion, I have a motorcycle, and I don't get to ride it a lot because I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
So my wife took the kids out of town, and it's Sunday, and I'm just waiting for my family to get back. I don't have a whole lot to do, and so I'm going to take the bike out for a ride. And so I take my bike out for a ride, and I time it so when I get home from riding my motorcycle, my family should be home soon. So I come home and they're not there yet. I'm like, that's weird. So I take my gear off. I get into my apartment and I look at my phone and my brother's wife. I have some messages from Keisha. And so I call her back and she's like, Mace, like, have you heard from Courtney or Race or anyone? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, Courtney called me when they left Fillmore saying, you know, see you in a little bit, almost home. That was the last I heard from him. And she's like, I don't know. I just have like a weird feeling. I hope they're okay. I'm like, I'm sure everything's fine. So I end that conversation with Keisha and I pull out my phone and I call my wife, Courtney, straight to her voicemail. And so I call my brother, Race, straight to his voicemail. I'm like, that's weird. And then I just standing in my room, like, just like, okay. And then my phone rings and I answer. It's an unknown number. I answer it and this guy says, I'm Dr. So-and-so from Fillmore Hospital. There's been an accident. And so I just talked with my sister-in-law, Keisha. And so I'm like, oh, shit. So in my mind, I picture my wife, Courtney, and my brother, Race, like injured in a hospital bed. Kids are in the hallway crying, like scared. So we got to get there. Like in my mind, that's worst case scenario. That's where my mind went. And so before the doctor even keeps talking, I put my phone on speaker and I text Keisha. I'm like, hey, there's been a car accident. Come get me because I have my motorcycle. I'm like, I can't take me and you and you're going to have to come get me. I don't even have a car. And I don't even know all the details yet. All I know is this, dude, there's been a car accident. So I text that to Keisha. I'm like, hey, there's been a car accident. Come pick me up. So I send that. And then the doctor keeps talking to me and he's just taking a while, dude. And I think the reason he's taking so long is he's about to tell me some terrible news. And
he didn't want to have to tell you that either.
Yeah. And I think the first responders, I think they were just confused at first. Like same last name. I think they just thought
you were next of kin.
Yeah. So I think when they first got there, they're thinking, oh, this is one family. And then they're learning like, oh shit, like this is actually two different families. So the guy was like, he's like, are you the owner of the Buick? I'm like, dude, what is going on? He says, I'm really sorry, but there's been a terrible 22 car pileup. Everyone's dead except one person.
22 cars.
22 car pileup.
Fuck, bro.
And so I fall to the ground and I start crying. And you know, like the stages of grief, like anger, denial, acceptance, bargaining. I was kind of just flipping through all of those, like 10 seconds in each one.
Immediately.
Just like I think I remember asking him, like, you're kidding, like you're joking. And he's like, I wish I was joking. And then I remember just being in denial and then like having waves of acceptance and like, oh, I need to start telling people what's going on. And then I'd slip into denial and then anger and then bargaining. Oh, bargaining's like the saddest thing, dude. If you see someone actually like in the phase of bargaining, it rips your heart out, man. So everyone's dead except one person. And listen, like, I'm sure the guy who called me did a really good job. I'm not trying to act like he gave me bad information.
Yeah, there's no way to handle that well, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you have 4 kids.
Yeah, there's no way to.
Like,
I couldn't imagine making
so
that phone call or receiving it.
Yeah,
there's nowhere to. There's no good place to come from. You know?
And honestly, guys, like the worst thing I experienced before that was like nothing, dude. Like I think before the accident, I'm like, what did I even used to worry about? I can't even remember. It's like, can you remember your life before you had kids? Like, kind of not. Like, you've had kids forever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like, I can't. So, dude, anyway. And so I'm having a tough time, obviously. And then I don't even know, like, is the one survivor from my vehicle? Or are we talking, there's just one survivor total? Like, it's from someone else's car. So I don't even know if it's my kid. I don't even know. Or, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just like, what the hell? And my older brother Race is in the car, and my older brother Race was like a state champion wrestler, and then he got into MMA fighting, just like this weird, tough skater, punk, weird, tough guy. just weird, like takes a punch type
Yeah.
of thing.
Indestructible.
Yeah, yeah. And so, dude, like I'm looking at my phone and I just hear it like one survivor, like who is it? And my mind just automatically on its own, my mind just starts flipping almost like pictures on a slideshow. My wife, my kids, right? Like they all just flip through my mind like who is it? And I'm like shaking because I want it to be my wife or my kids so bad. Like I just, and it was so fucked up because in the moment I'm literally praying, please don't let it be race. Like just, you can't do that to me, man. Because if race is the survivor, that means my whole family's dead. So like, and that fucked me up for a while. And I have a lot of guilt about that still, about my brother. Like how can someone wish that to a brother like they love? And it just like, and it's weird, Brian, because like sometimes like there's a voice in me that gets it, like Mason, you don't need to feel shame or guilt about that. Like Race would understand.
Yeah.
Race would get it. You don't need to feel bad about it, bro. I have that. So like you guys don't need to tell me that because I have that. I know that. But dude, there's a real person inside of me still that fucking hates me.
Yeah,
I can't live with myself.
It's understandable.
And I think I think that story alone is just a good indication of trauma and what it can do to someone. So I pick up the phone and he says the survivor is a 3-year-old. So I drop the phone again and my wife's gone. Just like gone. Like I saw her walk out the door like, hey, I'll see you Sunday. No, never, like gone. And you know, the bodies were so bad. I couldn't even see, they let me see her hand. They're like, hey, if you want to see her hand, we'll let you see her hand. I'm like, I can't fucking do that.
Yeah. Not a good way to
my wife's gone, my brother's gone, Ryder's gone, Riggins is gone. And so 3-year-old, that could be my daughter Frankie, who's 2, but I don't know, like she could pass as 3. It could be Frank, and I'm just desperate. Like, tell me it's someone of like, give me something. Or it could mean Blue, who was 3 at the time, but really little for 3. So I don't know. I'm just kind of hopeful for both. I want everyone to be alive, I think. And for some reason we're talking, and I get the idea that it's Frankie. Like, oh, this is my daughter Frankie, and if I remember right, I tell the doctor, I'm like, oh, that's my daughter Frankie. And he says, no, this isn't a girl. This is a boy. He has blonde hair, blue eyes. And my son Blue has blonde hair, blue eyes. Dude, and so like the feeling of like, I thought my son Blue was dead. And now you're telling me, and I thought Frankie was the survivor. And it was, this guy gave me the best news. He's like, it's a 3-year-old with blonde hair, blue eyes. And dude, I had like, Blue's actually alive. Like Blue might be alive. And it was just like this feeling of redemption and hope. And then at the exact same time, dude, it meant that my daughter Frankie was gone. And that really fucked me up, dude. And I like in life now, I don't even know what I want. Dude, I used to think life was like you work hard, you do stuff good, you kind of get a payback. Like life works out for you. And it's just like, dude, like what the hell? I was a good dad. I was a good husband. I wasn't perfect, but like I wasn't the deadbeat dad, alcoholic that didn't know what was most important. It's just the most frustrating thing to me, dude. And now, like this crossover with Frankie and Blue, it's done so much damage. Where like I don't want to commit to anything because what if it's Blue instead of like you know what I mean? Like I can't even explain it, but that experience really like messed me up, and it's tough for me to commit to things and to decide things, to make a decision. Because I don't even know what I want. It was almost like, do you want it to be Blue or Frankie? It's like, I don't know. I want all of them. How can you even ask me that? So, I'm hoping it's Blue. And they're like, hey, we're life flighting him to the University of Utah. So I'm like, okay. How long does the life flight take? They're like 45 minutes. I'm like, okay. And then they said, we need to get a hold of Keisha, my brother's wife. I'm like, well, she's coming to my house right now to pick me up. I can tell her, but I'm not telling her unless you know for sure everyone else is dead. And he's like, yeah, everyone else is dead. I'm like, okay, I'll tell her. So I have to, what's that?
Fuck.
Yeah, not good, dude. So, and I'm still in my apartment and I'm going through all these phases of grief, right? And every once in a while, the acceptance guy will step in,
Mhm.
like the rational guy. He's like, Mace, you need to call your parents, tell them what's going on. You need to get to the University of Utah hospital. So you need to find someone that can get you there. So I called my buddy Jake. Like, told him what was going on. I'm like, you need to pick me up and drive me there. I tell my parents what's going on. Like, hey, I think the survivor might be blue. If it is blue, I need you to be at that hospital because it's going to take me 4 hours to get there. It's going to take you 45 minutes. So please drive to the hospital. So if it is blue, someone's there. And then that guy would leave and I'd collapse, like literally like collapse, slap the pavement. And then the acceptance guy would come back later. But that's kind of how it was. So I leave my apartment. I get to the main road so I can flag down Keisha, and I flag her down and I get into her car and I'm just, they can tell like what is going on. And like, and I don't know how else to tell them. So I just say there's been a car accident. Everyone's dead except maybe Blue. And my niece Faith lets out this scream that more than a like, not like a weird yelping terrible sound, and just literally takes off, leaves the car and just runs, just takes off running. Books it like the flight or flight thing, like she just took off running. And then I look, so I'm in the back seat, and so I look, I'm right behind Keisha, my brother's wife, and I see Keisha's head drop, and the first words out of her mouth was my precious Ryder, because she just lost her son. And then I had to leave them. So I'm holding Keisha. I'm trying to figure out where Faith is. And then Jake, my buddy Jake, picks me up. And I have to leave my dead brother's wife all alone. Like, I had to leave her. I left her there in hopes that one of my kids was still alive. It is not good. So my buddy Jake picks me up. We drive 4 hours. I have to drive through the car accident to get there. I get there, and it is Blue, and that kid saved my life. If Blue didn't make it, I'm very confident I wouldn't. I mean, I struggle with depression and thoughts of dying every day, and if it wasn't for Blue, I'm confident I wouldn't be here anymore. But Blue had a couple scratches on his head. He had a broken hand. And that was it. Like, he was fine. I mean, he had a neck brace on for precaution, but he was fine, dude. And it was like I was reborn that day into this, like, trauma and the rebirth of it. And my whole perspective's different now. And to make a long story short, or maybe we can talk about it. It is a podcast. I don't know what you guys want to do, but there's a quote I love that says life's 10% what happens to you and 90% what you're going to do about it.
Yeah.
And listen, like, if someone lost a spouse or a kid today, I would not send them that quote. I wouldn't be like, well, life's 10, like,
yeah, it's not
timing is needed with this quote. But that quote changed everything for me. And that's what I've taken to heart is life's not fair.
No.
Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to good people. At least that's what I believe.
No, it's the truth.
And
It is the truth.
I think all you have control over, or what you should focus on, is what's in your control. What can you do?
Yeah.
And life's pain and what happened to me is unfair and it sucks. But the only thing I have to focus on is what am I going to do about it? And one thing I've chosen to do is just talk about it. And for guys, like, guys don't want to talk about how bad they're hurting. They don't want to cry in front of other people. They don't want to admit that they're weak. They don't want to do any of that stuff. And that's something that I'm trying to help is, dude, I understand the feeling of loneliness and being completely powerless very, very well.
I bet.
And if I can help other people with those feelings, that I feel like I give meaning to the car accident. Like, I give it a purpose. If I choose to just sit back and whine and complain and poor me, why me the rest of my life, I don't help anyone. I don't help myself. and the car accident becomes meaningless.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything. And I think that's how life is.
You got a way to honor them now.
Yeah, like yeah,
Opportunity for you to tell their story,
dude, an
to tell you
opportunity,
how you rise out of this situation.
dude. And I'm so glad you said the word opportunity because that's truly what it is. And one thing I learned about opportunity is it doesn't come from, it can come from something terrible.
It can.
It can come from something absolutely
our choice.
terrible, but
There's
it's
opportunity.
still
in
an
everything.
opportunity, dude. Like you have a shitty divorce, as bad as it is.
But it's an opportunity to heal or grow or learn or change somebody else's life or transform
Yeah,
or to live through someone else.
I think so.
Yeah.
And even if that's not true, like there's not a better perspective to have.
Zero. There's no other perspective to have that's positive, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing we have control over. I'm glad you found the courage to talk about this and to
keep
tell the
going.
story.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity in it to know that there is something for other people to learn. If it's as simple as, don't take things for granted
Yeah.
and a million other lessons that are there, you know what I mean?
And like, I don't know if there's cool things you get from trauma if you accept it. And like, so after the accident, probably the first year, I was in complete denial, shock, running away from it. Like I couldn't look at pictures of them. I couldn't talk about them.
It's only just recently you've been able to.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's a good point too. Like this car accident happened about a year and a half ago.
So the last 6 months you've been able to
Yeah.
work through it a little
Dude,
better.
yeah, like that's crazy that it's only been 6 months because I started my podcast on the anniversary date of the accident. So July 25th, 2021 is when the car accident happened. July 25th, 2022 is when I posted our first 1090 episode and I did my first public speaking gig. So that's kind of the anniversary of our 1090 thing is that year mark. And it's crazy that it's only been like 7 months with how much, I don't know if you want to call it success or how much attention we've made. It's been pretty cool, man. But yeah, I spent the first year just running from it. Alcohol, drugs, anything to, because I was in this weird, like Brian, I couldn't die because of blue. Like I couldn't kill I wanted to die because the pain never stops.
But you wanted to numb it.
And I had to numb it. I'm like, well, I can't die because I have blue. So I was just in this weird limbo of what do I do with this amount of pain? And I would just try to numb it and run from it. And that's what I did the first year.
What flipped after the first year?
So I went to therapy. And I don't think it was one thing. I think it was a lot of things. But one pivotal moment is I went to therapy. What are you guys like? You guys like therapy or?
I go once a week.
We're
Good, man.
We're open to everything.
Because like I hate dude, I was such an idiot before the accident. I honestly thought like if a guy goes to therapy, they're like kind of soft. That's how
I get that.
Yeah, right. And now like, dude, like, oh. Anyway, so I'm in therapy with Matt Quackenbush. And this dude is a bad dude. This guy is cool. So we're in therapy and he says, Mason, this car accident, it's not about you and Blue. And this is pretty early after that. Like, so I'm really in the thick of my trauma. And I'm a little offended almost like, what the hell? Like, but I'm like, okay. And I keep listening. And he says, this car accident is about 7 billion other people that you now have the opportunity to help. And I'm like, and then he said, Mason, if you wanted to take your own life, because I told him that, like, I struggle with why should I live? Like, death looked awesome to me because if I die, the pain stops, which sounds great. And I might see him again. I miss him. I want to see him. So like death to me, like, is like, okay.
It was like a win-win almost.
Yeah. And like if a doctor came to me, he's like, hey, you have stage 4 cancer. You have 5 months left. I'd be like, thank God. That honestly, like, that's how I would take it, dude.
Self-realization.
And I'm just being honest with you. That's like, okay. And so so I'm in this therapy session. Then he said, you have an opportunity. He said, Mason, somewhere tomorrow, someone's going to lose a spouse. Someone's going to lose a daughter or a son or a niece or a nephew or a brother and a sister. He's like, you can help all of them. And then he asked me, he said, what are some of the emotions you have, like feelings? I'm like, I feel alone. I feel helpless. He's like, yes. So you can help so many people with that if you want. He's like, so Mason, you can take your own life if you want. He said that. He said that to me. I'm like, dude, I'll do it, man. You try me. And he's like, you can do that, or you can take advantage of this opportunity, open your mouth, and help people. And I left that therapy session like, it wasn't like a complete turnaround. Like, I'm gonna go start a podcast today, but it was like the beginning of like
That was the push you
a
needed.
perspective shift. Like, and the minute
Did you feel less like a victim in that moment?
yes, and the minute I started, dude, trauma makes you so selfish.
I mean, I get it, bro. And
'Cause-
you have the right to be selfish in that moment.
Yeah,
of
you
course.
wake up and you're like, what? You just think
Why
about
me?
all your
Yeah,
shit,
no, I
and
get
you
it.
don't really have time to think about your shit. But the minute I talked to my therapist, and the minute I started trying to help other people, that was one of the biggest changes. And it was like the whole, and it's really ironic because like I don't believe in God, like literally, like this puppet master. But like the story of God and the story of Jesus is 100% truth, man. Like I'm filled with so much anger and pain. I promise you, love is the only way out, man. That Jesus guy was right. Like, love your neighbor, love your enemy. That's been my biggest help is, dude, when people message me on Instagram, I have no clue who they are from all across the world, dude. Hey, I lost my brother. Hey, I lost, and it's just so cool, man. It's cool then. And I think pain and death is beautiful because it brings us all together.
It's the one moment that we can feel
We're
compassion,
all, yep,
or equals, or just, you know, put yourself in somebody else's shoes for a second.
yep.
You know, that I feel like we've lost that as humanity. So we don't love our neighbor anymore,
For
more
sure.
or less. You know, I see it a lot in LA of just
Dude, in LA, it's horrible.
common, just walking around. You know, just lack
Yeah.
of respect for each other, lack of empathy.
And
I'm not the most empathetic. It's tough for me even, you know what I mean? But
I think it's just
get
tough
it.
for guys in general, dude. I think there's something about it that we just associate with weakness and like we want to be the big, tough, strong.
we've been taught to be like that.
Right, yeah.
But
Yeah.
now you understand there's a different purpose.
Oh, dude. And I understand, like, we were kind of talking about this before we started recording. Like, I honestly used to think most people in life were happy.
Yeah.
And then there's just a couple people here and there that aren't. And, you know, we'll help you out when we can. And now it's like, I think most people are miserable and we all have shit we're going through. And maybe a couple, you know.
And we just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
From that perspective, it's easier to see the world for what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
To see that, you know, we're all operating from a disadvantage.
we're all
and from a
hurting,
hurt
man.
place. Yeah.
And that's one thing I don't like is because people come up to me like, "Hey, like I lost my wife, but it's nothing like yours." I'm like, "Dude, what
Dude,
are you doing?"
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
why
there's
you
no relevance to
evaluate.
this
And
to this scale right here, right?
for sure, and one of the things I hate is people being the victim, like playing the victim card. I hate it.
Yeah.
And like for me, like I pay my bills, I work. I'm starting a business. I'm starting a 1090 business. I still do basketball skill training.
Mhm.
I wake up and I work.
Yeah.
And I'm a good father to my kids still. Like just because something really unfair and shitty happened to me, that doesn't give me the right to just do whatever I want the rest of my life. Like I still have to set goals and it drives me nuts when people play the victim. Like something bad happened to me, so I should get this special treatment. Like actually no. Life's brutal and you got to keep going.
Yeah.
And if something bad happened to you and then because something bad happened to you, the world gave you something, that would make life fair.
But it's not.
But life's not fair, bro.
Nope.
And that's something else I've learned is, yeah, it took everything from me. It owes me nothing. It's got to be up to me if I'm going to give any meaning to it. So,
Wow.
like, and it's a tough thing. So you don't want to be the victim, but you got to find healthy outlets to talk about it. And that's the yin and the yang that's really difficult. Don't be the victim, but I do need to express that I'm hurting in a healthy way. And
Something like this.
something like that. And that's something that at 1090, like with Sam, my co-host, and with Ryan, I don't know if we've fully answered, but we're working on that. Like how can we do this? How can we not be victims, but express that we're hurting? So that's part of the 1090 message that we're trying to help people with too. But you can't be the victim, man.
No, I mean it doesn't get you anywhere, right?
No, and
Because you're
I
expecting
know
sympathy.
I know I've talked a lot. You guys are
No,
probably
you're
No,
good, bro.
but
like-
This is your show.
But like, if I blame, let's say I can't do something because my anxiety, like I have anxiety
I'm sure.
disorder now. I have
Yeah.
depression. Like
Yeah.
I have PTSD. Like I have stuff.
Yeah.
And like if I claim that I can't do something or I can't perform, I didn't do something very well. Like let's say this podcast goes to shit. I can't say like, sorry, I didn't have it today. I'm dealing with depression. Like if I played that card, that victim card, it is really disrespectful to my family, to my dead family, like to my wife, to Riggins, to Frankie, to Race, and to Ryder. I feel like if I claim I can and can't do things because of them, I feel like that's rude to them. They would not want me to say that. I know my wife wouldn't, my brother wouldn't for sure.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how I see things. I can keep going.
You have to.
It's the only card you got left, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, or the other one, which, is not good, but you got to keep going, man.
Yeah, you
But
got
you wouldn't want to leave Blue by himself either.
Yeah, dude. And that's what put me in that limbo of like, yeah.
You got to be there to help him and help him get through all of it, because eventually he'll get to a point of, where is mom?
Yeah. And dude, when he first asked me that, like, I think it was the second night after the accident, he's like, where's mom? Oh, dude. It's brutal, man. Where's Frankie? Where's Riggins? I'm like, and you just had to tell him. And there's a quote I love. I got into stoicism a lot. I don't know if you get into stoic philosophy, but it's
That's more his department.
Oh, is that right? It helped change my life. But there's this really cool stoic quote by Marcus Aurelius that says, "When death smiles at you, all a man can do is smile back."
That's right.
And that quote, because that's what I did for the first year. I just was not smiling back. I couldn't look at death in the face, running away from it. The minute I turned and smiled back, meaning, all right, bring it on. Like, you think this is going to ruin me? You think this is going to keep me in my bed the rest of my life? Like, fuck that. Like, you thought taking my family would shut me down? You fucked up. Now I'm going to start a podcast, and now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make something great happen from it. So you fucked up, fate. You shouldn't have done it. And that's kind of the mindset that stoicism gives me, that kind of pumps me up.
Good. Empowers you.
Yeah.
How did he how has he come to terms with this with it just being the two of you now?
Blue?
Yeah.
Dude, like, he was the middle child, and then all of a sudden only child. Like, that alone just has to be weird.
Yeah.
Like, not just talking about this
No, but
sadness.
there is
but
a
just the life change.
yeah.
And the level of attention he gets.
Yeah, it's just, so that alone has to be weird for him.
Sure, it was weird for him, just that everybody was overly,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, dude, like, that kid he's doing so good, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I asked my therapist, I'm like, how do I handle this with my kid? And he's like, how often do you cry around him? I'm like, never. Like, I don't. I used to like take him to a babysitter, or I just lock myself up in the bathroom, turn the fan on, and just cry, or take a shower. Like, Blue, I got a shower, and just cry. It's okay. He's like, you need to let him see you cry sometimes.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to let him know that you love them and you miss them. You got to let him know that you're hurting and it's okay for him to cry. He's like, he needs to see you cry sometimes. Not all the time. Like, don't overdo it. But like every once in a while, like he needs to see you cry. And that really helped. And, I'll just go back to smiling back at death. Like, we talk about him. And for the first year with Blue, I never talked about him with him. But now we talk about him all the time. And it is painful, but that's where the love is too. And that's something I learned is if you run away from the pain, I get it, but you also run away from the memories and the happiness and the joy that we had together.
All the good times.
Yeah,
You've
so
had
like
15 plus years of memories with your
yeah,
wife.
man. And that's something that I've learned is the pain.
Running away doesn't honor.
No, you can't, dude. And running away, like, this is another thing I've learned. If you face whatever it is, it doesn't have to be death. It could be losing your job. It could be a relationship.
Anything.
It could be
Anything that we have an emotion about. Or an
if you
emotional
run
attachment
away
to.
from it, that accountability, 100% of the time, it's gonna go bad on you.
You run
and
forever. It
probably,
takes you.
and when it catches you, it'll probably be worse.
Yeah, way worse.
What I've learned is if you turn and you face it, you're in more control of it. It's not nearly as bad. And then if you turn and face it, you get the good parts of it too, man. Because there are gifts within trauma, man.
Yeah.
It is like trauma's a gift. It's a shitty gift that your aunt gives you for Christmas or something, like a gift that you don't really want, but it's like a gift nonetheless.
You
Like,
would wish it upon no one, and it's not something you want to receive, but
well said,
at
dude.
the same time, a gift nonetheless, right?
Yeah,
Because in great distress comes great,
yeah,
great responsibility and opportunity in front of you to
I think
help
so.
others, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this is a story that can, single-handedly make me think differently about my life, and single-handedly make somebody that is dealing with the same type of trauma understand that they're not alone, or that
yeah,
there is a reason to push forward.
yeah. And like, so we got into the public speaking thing, and the interesting thing about death is it relates to everyone, dude. Like the trauma behind it. Like we speak at high schools, universities, law firms, construction businesses. Like,
We all get to share
dude,
this as
like,
humans, right?
yeah, and it's really cool because how terrible the story is. If you flip it, it allows you to experience so many beautiful things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
Like the depth of the
makes
misery
perfect
allows you, like, we're able to connect with so many groups of
Racist
people.
is no
Dude,
longer
like,
no class, no race,
it's
no,
been,
no
it's
financial background, nothing
really
transcends the
rich
fact
people,
that
poor
we're all.
people,
This
anything,
is the
dude.
story that everybody has the same reaction to.
Because we're all gonna
I mean, as you
experience.
tell it, I cry.
Yeah,
As you tell it, I'm sure everyone cries with you,
for sure. Yeah,
because we can all relate to this understanding that this is the worst possible thing that could happen, right?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the worst phone call that you could
Dude,
ever
well, like I
get.
said, my mind went to Courtney and Race are hurt. Kids are in the hospital.
Yeah.
That was where my brain unconsciously went to worst case scenario.
This is the impossible. This is
Yeah,
the
it's
one
not
thing
good.
that nobody ever expects to happen, but it does.
Yeah,
How has your sister-in-law and niece taken it?
I like as good as you can. I mean, and trauma's weird because we all handle it differently.
Does
And
she come speak with you sometimes?
no, she kind of does her own. She's big into the yoga, namaste
Mm-hmm.
type of
Different type of
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of like let's talk and cry together.
Uh-huh.
She's more of like
Finding
the
her
yoga,
peace
yeah,
innerly,
which is
yeah,
great.
that's fine.
I'm
Yeah.
just really unflexible and I don't like to sit like that.
And what about your niece?
She just graduated high school. Just working.
She's a little bit older, so
Yeah, so she graduated early because she's smart. So she's trying to figure out her next step, but has a boyfriend she really likes.
How old was your nephew?
The one that passed away.
Yeah,
He was 12.
he was 12.
Ryder, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ran. So my brother Race's other kid, Ran. He'll be a junior in high school next year. He's a good little football player.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
What are the plans with 1090? Like, where do you see? I'm sure you just want to help as many people as you
dude,
can, but what do you guys have on the horizon for?
So we're booking. We probably get interest to go speak somewhere. We probably get 1 or 2 a week.
Good.
So we're filling up
Quickly.
It fills up, and like we've only been doing it for 7 months, so
It's only gonna get.
yeah. So like if you
We're
have,
gonna touch more lives, you know.
yeah. So if you're listening to this and you have a business or a company and you want looking for a guest speaker, hit up 1090. But yeah, so I'm not really sure what we're gonna turn into or what we are. My good friend Sam Josie, who suffers from a rare form of dwarfism called Ellis Van Creveld.
Okay.
We just started this podcast. We call it 1090 from that quote. Life's 10% what happens to you, 90% what you're going to do about it. And we bring guests on who have been through some shit, dude. We brought this couple on. They went hiking with their 2 little girls. And 2 little girls ripped out of their hands, flash flood, gone, drowned.
Fuck, bro.
Yeah. So we have stories like that where we invite people on. They talk about their 10% and then their 90%. Like, okay, what have you learned? What have you been doing? How can we take what you've learned and help other people with it, type of thing? So that's kind of how we structure our podcast. So if you like sad stories, you like to cry, we got some sad stories for you.
Or if you like to learn about
Yeah.
real life,
Dude, trauma's a good teacher for
and
sure.
how unfair it can be.
Yeah.
How unfair, and that original question I asked you,
And
how
if
do you
you-
keep going? And you you've explained it over this
Right.
last bit, and it's not any one specific thing.
There's
It's-
something that you could say to somebody out there listening right now that needs to hear this.
I would say one day at a time,
Yeah,
keep going.
I say that. People ask me, how do you do it? I say one foot in front of the other.
Honest to God, like, yeah.
That's it.
And honestly, like, I know it sounds so cliche, but dude, honestly, some days I'm like 2 hour windows at a time. Like, okay, I have something to do for 2 hours. Like, I have purpose for the next 2 hours.
And that helps a lot.
And then, like, okay, so like it'll be 1 o'clock. I have to pick up Blue at 3:30 from school. So, okay, I'm good for the next 2.5 hours. That's and then when I pick up Blue, I have no idea what we're doing. I don't know if we're gonna go to Nickelmania. I don't know if he wants to go snowboarding. I don't know what we're doing at 3:30, but I'm gonna make it to 3:30. And that's honestly kind of how, dude, trauma messes with your brain, like biologically. I'm a mess. I can't read very good anymore. I say things backwards a lot. And so being a podcaster is not easy, dude. Like, I listen to myself. I'm like, what are you saying right now?
I still struggle with the
Yeah.
podcast. Sometimes
You've
it
taken
just-
on a lot in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Godspeed to know that you've been able to flip the switch that quick. I mean, most people. I mean, you're still in a grieving stage, obviously, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure that you know.
Well, like,
I don't know enough about it to know whether.
can I
that
say one
really
more thing
subsists.
before we wrap up?
Yeah, please.
we
Please.
don't have, whenever
like-
you want to wrap, we wrap.
Because
Yeah.
I will say, because I do have a podcast and I do public speaking, and when I do it, you know, the lights are on, look happy, but dude, like, I woke up this morning and cried.
Yeah.
And I cried for a while, and I took a shower and I cried, and then I had to wake up Blue, and so I stopped crying. Like, I give off this perception to a lot of people, like I've overcome something. Like, how did you overcome that? Like, dude, I have not overcome it at all. I'm trying to move forward with it. And I think if you've experienced, like, we talked about your buddies in the Marines, we talked about some other people. Like, if people have seen real traumatic shit, they're screwed. Like,
Yeah.
for the rest of their life, like, that shit ain't going away. The only hope you have is learning what to do with that pain. Like, what are you gonna do about it? That's really your only focus. But the pain and dude, the survivor's guilt. Dude, the survivor's guilt I have is dude, I was literally riding my motorcycle yesterday, just having a good time, and then literally, like, how can you be happy? You're a piece of shit. You just lost your wife, your kids. How dare you be happy? And it just shuts me down, dude. And I'm just miserable. And yeah, so it's not good, man, but you keep going, and I love the comedian Bill Burr. He always says
That's great.
we're all eating a shit sandwich out here. I think he's right. We're all
He's
eating
right,
a shit
bro.
sandwich, and
You
you
can
just
love him or hate him, but Bill tells me
yeah,
it is most
I
of the time.
agree.
You know?
Like, and you just hope you have some good bread and some good lettuce around it. But we're all eating a shit sandwich, dude.
Yeah, to shit sandwiches and life being not so fair,
Yeah.
right? It's a lot for people to undertake sometimes because we were told that if we do things the right way, things will have a happy outcome, and
Yeah.
it seems that more and more we learn that that's not the case, right?
Yeah,
So-
I think you're right.
Finding something to keep pushing for, if it's not just Blue, but to know that there literally is billions of people that your story and your life will help. You know what I
Hope you're
mean?
right, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate
I mean,
it.
17 million on TikTok. That's a good
Yeah,
start to
that's-
get going. You know,
Well, it's what I was told anyway. I don't know. I don't have TikTok.
that's huge, bro. And it's not just that, but like, you know, the downline of that being passed around is that everybody hears that, and even if it's for the 30 seconds that people can focus on something, that's 30 seconds of honor for your family and 30
That's how I see
seconds
it,
of
yeah.
hopefully them putting things into perspective of what's really important, you know? Imagine
for
if
sure.
one person, imagine if every time somebody hears this, they make one good decision.
Well, that's what me and Ryan,
You know
that's
what
what
I
me
mean?
and Sam, like, hey, if one person
makes a
is-
good decision based
Yeah.
off of them operating, you know, obviously, you know, people change and people go back to life. But if today, you know, I operate differently because I got to sit here and feel this emotion from this tragic event, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it changes the way I touch one person, and the downline of that is
Yeah.
endless, you know?
Well, I have a lot of people message me like, dude, I just saw your video, and I literally went home, hugged my wife, told my kids I love them. I even think that is like,
Amazing.
that's
right?
worth it.
How
to
much
me.
love is spread because of that?
Yeah, like that's cool, man. Like I'm glad I was able to help you do that. Because honestly, that might be the last time he hugs all of them.
Exactly.
Like,
We
and you
really
never
don't-
think it's
we
you, dude.
We really never know.
You never think it's you, but it could be.
Tomorrow's never promised.
Yeah, dude.
You know, cherish what you have in front of you and remind those people that you do love them, that you do care,
For
because
sure.
you never know when that will be the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you got to smile back, huh?
Yeah, dude. I love that quote.
That's great. Yeah, it really is. That's the only way that we can make it through this. You know, is that we just kind of just, you know, look it in the face and understand that we're here to obviously feel these emotions and keep it pushing.
Yeah. Amen.
Anything else you wanna add?
Just thank you so much. I'm terrible with the whole Instagram thing. So
Please.
Ryan's like my video guy's like, you have to tell
We'll
him.
put it.
Well,
We'll
no,
put
I'm
it.
gonna put it
You
in.
have to
Put it down there.
And I just
Yes.
like forget. Like,
But yeah,
I'll
yeah.
put it down
Give
there.
everybody your social, how to
Hey,
find you.
what give me some good places to eat around here though. I love food in California.
Do you?
You got to give me some.
We got
Not maybe not right now, but
I got you.
Yeah, we
like,
got
I'm,
you.
I'm getting
Yeah,
hungry.
we'll hook
fat
you up
kids.
right now.
We got you.
Yeah, we eat good.
But no, so we have the 1090 rule. It's the number 10, and then you spell out 90 on Instagram. That's where we post most of like our podcast info. We have a website.
What if someone wants to reach you directly?
If you want to reach me directly, message the 1090 Instagram page, right, Ryan? Yeah. Yeah.
That way you're not. We don't
Well,
want you
I-
getting flooded with the.
Well, that's
And it's,
dude,
you got to get
I-
through
and
them, you know.
You guys are big. Like you guys have a like you guys are big time.
I have someone filter my messages.
Dude, and it's like, hold on, can we talk about this real quick?
Yeah.
Because dude,
It's a lot.
the 1090 business, dude, it's not connected to like a bank account for me. It's connected to my family, dude.
Yeah.
So like, the whole business side of it is really, really difficult for me.
Yeah.
And so when
If you
people
need help with that,
Well,
I
like
got you.
what I mean by that is like people will message me like my dad passed away or my wife died, and I used to be able to have conversations with these people, but now there's
So many.
so many, and I'm not trying to sound big time. When I say so many, I mean like 27 messages.
That's a lot, bro.
But dude, like
That's a lot of
to
messages.
respond to each one, like
In
the way I respond, it takes. I can't now. I'm not even playing with blue anymore. I'm like, this isn't what I. So it's been hard, dude.
There has to be a filter
And I
because
feel
you have
so
things to do.
bad.
as
I'm
well.
like these guys, because I know how bad they're.
They want to
I'm like,
connect.
dude. It's hard, man.
No, I get it.
And it's not.
My
good.
guy over here is pretty good at like structuring shit like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, pick us here and he can help you with the.
I can help get you a little
You know,
more
I'm the
dialogue.
same way, bro. I'm super personal.
Dude,
and like I
just
still
play
go through
basketball
my,
all the
my
time,
whole,
so I don't know.
my regular inbox. I go through
Yeah.
my other inbox. I still reply to everybody. I try to
See,
at
you're
least.
good, dude. You know.
And you know, my wife's like, "Why the fuck are you always on your phone?" And I'm like, I feel like kind of compelled to just
But
give
that-
somebody that time. You know what
dude,
I
they
mean?
message you like, "I'm so alone." How do you not respond? I feel
Yeah,
so
my
bad,
stuff
dude.
is not even in that realm, so I could only imagine. It's because
Yeah.
you want to give that attention, but then it's you have to protect your peace as well, bro. Because every time that happens, you open it back up as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And there's got to be a time and a place.
You gotta
and
feel
you need it
balance.
too. You know?
And blue is your priority.
Right. So it's like, well,
Offline, I'll give you some ideas.
yeah, I need, yeah, man.
Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, this was
Thank you for
awesome. I
telling
love,
your story,
love
brother.
California. So
Wish we had a little better weather for you, but it's
I know the
warmer.
rain. What are you gonna do though?
It is what it
You'll
is.
get
It
back
is
in the
what it
summer
is.
when it
Yeah.
warms up.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, like, follow, subscribe. You know, go check out the 1090. And you know, thanks again, Mason. We appreciate you
Thanks, you got
coming out
Thanks.
and you know, telling us this heartfelt story.
Anytime, man.
All righty, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
The most awkward, like.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay, bro.